What's up, guys? It is 5 a.m. and if you know anything about me from my League channel, you know I make my best educational videos when I'm sleep deprived and ready for bed. Okay, so if the title and thumbnail of this video isn't clear, I am here to share with you the freest top 4 of your life if you are masters and below. Okay, which should apply to pretty much everyone because currently, if you don't know who I am ranked 300. I switched from League to TFT 3 or 4 months ago and hit Challenger. And in the new set, I am currently 8 LP from GM. And the tech I'm going to share with you today was actually my Vegas land prep. Now you might be thinking, why the hell would we use this guy's strategy when he got day one? Okay, and the reason is that that shit may not have worked against the best players in North America, but it shows how it works on ladder. Okay, so I'm gonna show you some proof. So here on main, we hard forced this comp 4 times in a row with getting a first, a fourth, a second, and a first. And you'll notice in some of these lobbies, you'll see some names you might recognize, like Saint Vicious, Aegon, DQA, Kent, Sour Snake, Water. You know, actually, this guy was in my lobby, by the way. Sour Snake was in my lobby day one. And then I decided to, I was a little bit sick today, so I decided to force on Smurf, which is currently Emerald. So maybe if you are like Masters GM Challenger, this video is probably like not worth your time. But if you're lower than that, then you will probably get a lot of value out of watching this, okay? Whether you plan to force this or not, hopefully it will open your eyes to the strength of this comp. And just note that I forced this comp from any position. I did get an 8th, which is a Crow Pack diff, and I griefed my items, as you can see. But don't worry about that, okay? I'll show you how to play this comp and yeah, how to essentially farm free top 4s. Now, it is important that this guide remain unpopular because if someone else is doing the exact same strategy, you are going 8th because you can't hit Riven 3 if you're contesting, right? Since there are only 17 copies of 3 costs in the pool, 2 players cannot hit. Okay, 2 players cannot hit at the same time. So you really want to be uncontested. The fallback plan, if I were to have one, would be to play like Yone or something. But someone's also probably playing Yone. And to note that this is played on the 12th of December. And today, the 13th, there will be a patch buffing Chosen Riven. So this strategy will be even better than I'm showing you here, okay? So let me get you to the TODR. You don't want to watch shit, just skip to this, okay? TODR, this is the level 7 board. Main thing to note is that we need to activate, we need a Riven Chosen by 4-1, okay? We're going to need 3 Edgelord, usually through Kale or Viego. If you don't have Viego, you can use a Yone as your fake Viego. And then Sentinel package with Garen, the 8-bit Sentinel, and then Mordekaiser. Because he's Pentakill, you can run an Echo if you can't find any Mords temporarily, and then switch to Mord. And then, of course, we want to run Caitlyn and Corki if we have to activate the 4 8-bit. And the win condition of this comp is to get an 8-bit spatula. So an 8-bit spatula will give you access to 6 8-bit if you hit the 8-bit Riven. And it requires a bow and a spat. Or you can just get an 8-bit spat off like a late game carousel or something. Okay, so that is the win condition. Now, item priority. What we're looking at here is 3 primary Riven items. So the default is BT Titans QSS. Now I know some of you probably have strong feelings about these items. It does not have to be these exact 3 items. So you can get, but the thing to remember is that Riven needs healing. She's a melee carry. She needs a healing source. So if you have Vampirism, healing orbs, maybe you can do away with the BT. If you have a Hodge, it's very acceptable, if not better sometimes. Titans, I think is really good, but some people may disagree. But I think Titans lets Riven ramp and go 1v9 at full stacks with the extra armor and magic resist. And QSS is extremely necessary for all the CC that there is in the game. There's a lot of CC that can mess up the melee carries. For example, Thresh. If you have no QSS against a Thresh, it's an auto loss. Echo is a huge one. If you position around Echo, he AoE stun your melees. It's GG, right? So a CC immunity is going to be very important, whether you get it from a dummy Banshees or in augments, or actually just build a QSS. These are your most important items, okay? Healing, ideally a Titans, and CC immunity. Okay, and then if you have healing and augments or something, you know, IE is great. You know, IE Hodge QSS sounds really good. GS Titans QSS sounds really good with healing. You know, you get creative with it. Okay, just know that you need healing, QSS, and then most likely Titans. Okay. Next, after you finish your Riven items, you're gonna be looking at Shred. Okay, why is Shred important in this comp? Armor Shred from Even Shroud or Last Whisper is extremely important because the weakness of this comp is getting stuck on tanks. Okay, that's one of the weaknesses of this comp. If you are stuck on a main tank, Riven ain't going nowhere. Okay, you are just going to die hitting this tank for 10 years. In fact, that is actually how I got a 6 in my first game forcing this comp at LAN. I didn't make Shred. That game was a top 2. Okay, if I had made Shred instead of taking a Kane off Carousel, I would have gone top 2. Okay, no cap, no cap. No copium, no copium. Anyways, we need Shred. Okay, and then after that, you want to build Kaelin items and tank items for your main tank, Mordekaiser. Now, Kaelin items, you probably want some kind of mana gen, so maybe like a Rage Blade is probably the worst of the 3, but Shojin is good. Rebuff is the best. I know it's getting nerfed today, probably still good though. And then Rage Blade, I guess, if you have, you know, if you use it to streak early game or whatever, or you just have a bunch of extra components off Carousel or something. And then IE is extremely good because the 8-bit gives a bunch of flat AD. So if Caitlyn's ability crits, you're trying to like one-shot the stuff she's hitting. IE is actually, I think, extremely important, but it's pretty hard to fit an IE here because you probably have to open it out of Anvil or take it off Carousel or get Jewel Lotus in your augments. But yeah, IE is extremely good on Caitlyn. And then we just have like a Last Whisper here. But if you have, you know, if you have Even Shroud, it could be like a GS. It could be, really could be anything, okay? Just a +1. You don't have to worry too much about Caitlyn items. Just know you want 3 damage ADC items, okay? Now, this is the level 7 board. So on 4-1, you roll down to hit this board or equivalent. Okay, equivalent means equal power level. Now, if you are new to TFT or not that experienced, let's say you are like masters and below, and you have no idea what an equivalent below board looks like, stuff like Yone 2 instead of Viego is fine for a bit. Stuff like running an Echo 2 instead of Mord because you couldn't find Mord is fine. You don't want to roll too deep, okay? Usually when you hit the Riven Chosen, you're chilling. Just make sure you activate like at least 2 8-bit, ideally 4, and you need to activate at least 3 Edgelord. If you have 4 Edgelord because the Riven Chosen is Edgelord, that's a low roll. It's fine. But ideally you want the 8-bit Riven, okay? Now, for +1s, usually from Fawns or getting like 8-bit, getting 8-bit Riven, we can drop Corki, for example. The +1s could be any value unit. So oftentimes I've ended up with a Yorick, right? And then maybe you can consider dropping like this Sentinel package. Usually not, but sometimes there are chances I drop Kale. You can add the Yorick. Yorick is pretty good. Alawi doesn't quite fit on the board as well because there's so many melee units, so the tentacles aren't really getting that much value. So instead, we usually like to run like a rapid fire to help this Caitlyn cast and scale because Caitlyn actually becomes a secondary carry with 4 8-bit. Usually Lucian, the placeholder instead of Lucian while you're waiting for him is usually just a Philios or like a Senna, right? Any other rapid fire. I mean, I've used Jinx once for like 2 rounds because I couldn't find anything. That kind of sucks, but whatever you can get your hands on, a Kiana is fine, right? Any value unit, okay? You don't want to play like something that's like kind of worthless, like a Ziggs or something, right? It doesn't make sense with a board, okay? Now, the game plan with this comp, if you couldn't tell, is we're gonna reroll Riven on level 7 to 3-star her, and then use that to stabilize into the late game. Find Caitlyn 2, Viego 2, and an 8-bit spat, and hit 6 8-bit. Okay, that's the win con of this comp. 6 8-bit is the juice. Okay, and if you have Edgelord Riven, you can play 5 Edgelord for a bit. You can play like Yone and Kane if you find them. Just don't play like a Yasuo on your board. Okay, that shit is terrible. So yeah, now you might be wondering, how do we actually execute on this comp, right? How do we actually play the game, right? Because a lot of you guys know how to, this is the general strategy. How do we actually do it, okay? And the most confusing part for most people, I think, is the 4-1 roll down. So I'm going to show you 2 examples of the 4-1 roll down. The first example I have for you is going to be from the main account that's ranked 300. We're playing Heartsteel Lose Streak into cash out into Riven, okay? So I'm just forcing it from any spot because we were, my friends and I were trying this out to prep for Vegas LAN. So if we watch this clip here, the strat to do is just sell chosen and start rolling. Okay, if you're not confident in your rolls, you should start rolling on the creep round. Okay, you might lose some econ doing so, but you should definitely roll during the creep round if you have above 50 gold or you're really unconfident in your ability to roll down. And then once you hit, you should stop and evaluate and say, do I have a 4-1 board? Okay, a 4-1 board looks like Riven with 8-bit in, 2 Sentinel in, 3 Edgelord in, and ideally a 2-star tank. Okay, sometimes it's set 2, sometimes it's Echo 2, More 2. Garen 2 probably doesn't really count unless he has 3 Giga items and you're remaking him. But yeah, you get the idea, of course. And then of course you play the Viego KO package if you can for your Edgelords, and that's the gist of it. Okay, and then after this, you're going to use this Riven to stabilize, and then roll above 50. Roll above 50 in order to find your copies of Riven and to complete the board. So what I would do is I'll go in Team Planner. I don't have it open here, but I would click on all the units. Okay, open up Team Planner. Click Garen, Corki, Kale, Mord, Viego, Riven, Kaelin. Okay, just click on all of them. Press D, only click on those units. Okay, when you're rolling above 50. Click on those units, start replacing your board slowly when appropriate. Okay, and then once you have rolled above 50 and you have 7 copies of Riven, when you're 2 off, the rule of thumb is that when you're 1 off, roll to 0 to spike. Okay, if you're 2 off, roll to 30 or 20 to dig, so that you can be 1 off and then you can go to 0. Okay, your end goal is to in fact hit. Okay, so if we watch a few of these, I'm gonna lose by a little bit, right? I'm gonna pick our augment. We took Harmesis for more healing, and you see I'm rolling up at 50. I took a somewhat scary loss, so I'm digging deeper, right, to hit some units here that we have in our team planner, and then we're just gonna dig until I feel stable enough in order to play the game here. Okay. So you can see here, this board is looking a little bit more stable. I know it's a little awkward. We have, for some reason, we have an Aphelios and an Ezreal in, so it looks a little bit wonky. But the main upgrade is this 2-star more tank, right? And so with this board, we can save a little bit more HP because the more can actually tank over the Garen. The Garen is not really that tanky, right? So yeah, and then we actually ended up winning. And then fast forward, you know, the rest of this is just waiting until I have enough money to roll down to hit the Rivens, and then probably sell all the units that are not involved in the board and roll down to hit Riven 3. So you see here I'm 2 off, and then I turn into 1 off, so I start rolling to 0. And you will literally just roll until you hit. You know, do what you must. Like if you have to sell legendaries, if you have to sell extra copies, sell whatever goes next on your board, you roll until you hit. And we even sold the alloy on the board in order to hit it, right? And then from here, we end up going top 4. Watching the fights is kind of whatever, okay? But fast forward a bit, and you can see that we eventually won. We eventually won 6 or 7 rounds in a row to end 4th from 8th. Okay, here's the second example from the game I played today. This is on the Emerald account. It was Plat 2 at the time. And what we're gonna do here is I play a little KDA up until Wolves, play my best board. And then you see here that we're just gonna open sell our Chosen to pick up the Chosen Riven. Makes things a lot easier. And I actually just end up selling the entire board, knowing that I'm gonna roll down to find the board that I need, which is of course the Sentinel plus 8-bit plus Edgelord package. Right? And the instant we have it, we stop, reevaluate, like we did here, and then we say, oh, okay, what else do we need to do in order to fix this board? And of course, have all these units in your team planner to make the roll down really easy. Like, you know, watch me do a little roll down here, probably to at least 50, but ideally until board is stable. And you can see that I'm basically trying to make it so that my board doesn't end up with a extra Riven on it, right? And so here we ended up stopping with a 2-star Sentinel, 4 8-bit, 3 Edgelord, just like we said earlier. Yeah, and then for positioning ideas, just make sure your Riven is on the outside, not in front of the enemy main carry if the enemy main carry has a lot of single target damage. Okay, single target damage being like a Samira 3 that's gonna one-shot your Riven. Okay, or like a Jin that's getting stuck on Riven and then Riven gets stuck on a tank. That's no good. Okay, and next to Riven, you want to have a another damage dealer. Usually it's gonna be Viego because he's your other edgelord. But that way, they can do as much damage as possible in order for Riven to dash through and get to the enemy carries. Okay, and you should also put Caitlyn on the same side as Riven. Just make sure she doesn't get Akali'd if there are any Akali players in lobby. Alright, so let's watch, to wrap up this guide, let's watch the rest of this game. I know we started all these clips at 4-1, so if you want me to make another video guide, probably for a higher elo people, where we start from the beginning of the game, let me know in the comments, that way you guys can see a full game through, but I didn't want to make this video too long, so we're just gonna keep watching from the 4-1, 4-2 spot. I took the heroic grab bag to hit Riven 3 faster, right? And as you can see that we are here what I'm doing with my board is I'm trying to remake Garen, so that I'm trying to remake Garen so that I can get the Thieves Gloves off, and then I'm trying to get a More 2 to replace the Echo, and then I am digging for Riven since I have 2 duplicators. Probably over-rolling a little bit. Probably didn't have to roll this deep, to be quite honest. But yeah, I'm 1 off Riven now, which means we go to 0, right? Remember, when you're 2 off, we go to 20 or 30. And then when we're 1 off, we go to 0. And you can see my Riven placed on the edge, the leftmost edge, got to dash through the weak frontliners of the enemy team and aim the enemy carry. Okay, this is the ideal placement. You know, put it in front of a tentacle, put Riven in front of a tentacle. Just don't get Riven stuck on a tank. Okay, that's the ideal. You can also see here that I'm using Yorick as my +1. I'm not yet putting the rapid fire in because rapid fire exists to buff Caitlyn, but my Caitlyn's only 1 star and only has well, actually it has no items. So yeah, and then here you can see that I have an edgelord Riven. I actually don't need Kayle because I hit the Yorick, so I can get a little creative here. I actually ended up, I don't know what I ended up selling. I ended up selling a Garen, but I probably could have just sold the 2-star Kayle sitting on my bench. And we put the Thieves Gloves. I had Thieves Gloves Augment on Viego. I think I did a little something funny. I put on Yorick, realized it was worse, and then immediately removed it and put on Viego. Yeah, a little bit of fraudulent activity detected, but okay, I was a little sick today. Okay, so don't don't blame me too hard in the comments. Okay, but from this spot, we're just going to 0 for Riven 3 and using Riven 3 to bridge our way to level 8, 2-star Caitlyn, 2-star Viego, which I high rolled, and finish Caitlyn items. Here I'm thinking, oh, we kind of need QSS and we need to make use of these swords. So I grab a crit off the carousel. We're just going to make an IE, I don't care. Like you might be thinking, why don't we make a DB and use crit for QSS? It's just that DB is just, I think, just 10 times worse than making an IE here. So I refuse to make a DB here. Like DB gives you a lot of flat AD, but 8-bit is giving you like pretty much the most AD you could get from a trait in the game, right? So if you don't know anything about multiplicative scaling with items and stats, you don't want to get all of the same stat because it is inefficient. You want to make sure that you are diversifying your stats, okay? So for example, if you have a lot of AD, you want to start building percent damage increase like a GS and an IE so that you can crit, right? Versus building more ID, right? Like that's why you don't see like 3 Deathblade builds, for example, or like 3 Titans builds, for example, right? Like Titans gives AD, AP, and then Armor Magic Resist, flat stats. But then if you have 3 Titans, it's just more flat stats, right? You should you want to be able to stack your stats multiplicatively. Okay, if you want more, if you want me to comment more on this idea, I can like make a small video. But there are plenty of videos out there, people explaining how multiplicative scaling in stats works on TFT. So you should check those out. Yeah, I'm just fast forwarding to these fights now. You see, I position my Riven and my Even Shroud next to Riven so we can get the armor shred, and Riven just dashes through all the very weak units, and yeah, she she actually didn't dash to the backline, which is kind of funny there, but it doesn't matter because Riven is crazy strong. And she's getting buffed today, so yeah, she's kind of insane here. I'm pretty sure that we win, right? Oh my god, Riven just chopped that Akali in half. Yeah, and then we make 10 here. You might be wondering, okay, why would we sell a Garen pair to make 10? It's because I didn't think the Garen pair is as important as making Econ here so that we can go 8 and find the Caitlyn 2. Maybe even potentially go 9 and find like a Lucian and try and cap out our board, like maybe Yorick 2, Lucian 2, Caitlyn 2. Yada yada yada. And then lastly, we need an item off the we need an item to a final item for Riven. If we can't make a QSS, we're gonna have to settle for something lesser. But I'm pretty sure I can manage to find a QSS here, right? Um, one of the reasons why you can force this comp. Well, I don't have a QSS. One of the reasons why you can force this comp is that nobody wants a QSS, or sorry, nobody wants cloak components. And two of Riven's items, QSS and BT, are made out of cloaks. So oftentimes when you're streaking, you can, if you're a high health and you get shit items usually, you actually get the item you want, which is a cloak, right? Because nobody wants cloak. Oftentimes you're left with a high cost cloak on the carousel, which is actually really insane if you think about it. You're getting a high cost unit and you're getting the item you want. It's kind of nuts. Here we end up making the Titans that I talked about earlier. We're just going to have to end up foregoing the QSS here. But as you can see in this matchup, look, Riven is going to get giga feared by this Vex because she has no QSS. She's actually just like, one of the ways Riven gets countered is getting CC to death. Okay, so yeah, this guy has a Thresh and a Vex. It was actually very close, despite the fact that I have a Riven 3. Imagine if he has Urgot 3 or Samira 3 or Vex 3. I actually get wiped here very easily. Right, so yeah, if you can try and make a QSS on Riven. This fight's just, I mean, this guy doesn't have a board. I don't know what to say. Yeah, this guy doesn't have a board. A little bit of a fraudulent board here on 5-2. Let's skip this one. All right, so in against this guy, we're trying to get to his backline, right? So we're again positioning Riven on the side. I mean, it's the same thing every time, I promise, guys. We pretty much position our edgelords on the side so that they can dash to the enemy backline and make sure the even shroud is the third row next to them. It won't affect the furthest corner unit, the even shroud that is, because the even shroud only has a affected area of 2 hex. So if I can draw out here, let me see if I can draw it out for you guys. So even Shroud has a hex of 2, so it won't actually hit this corner unit. But this only matters if that corner unit is a Giga Tank. Okay, just so you know, this even Shroud does not affect the first target Riven will hit. Okay, and here you can see me. I'm rolling to try and hit this Caitlyn 2, because I feel like I am very far from 9. But I think I could have greeted it out, but I felt like, oh, maybe Caitlyn 2 will help keep streak. But honestly, if I were to play this game again, I don't think Caitlyn 2 is really doing much here without items. So I would probably prefer to just keep my econ and then do a big roll down if I needed to, or go 9 if possible. So I think rolling here is a little bit of a mistake, to be honest. Here I complete Caitlyn 2. My board is complete. I'm 8. You can see that I pretty much have my entire board, the 4 8-bit, the 3 pentakill, the 2 sentinel. In this case, I don't have an 8-bit Riven, so I'm playing towards edgelords a little more. That's why you see I have an edgelord spat and 5 edgelord, but that's okay. This is the top 4 from here, just like getting an edgelord Riven. 8-bit Riven is the one with the first potential most of the time. And then, a little thing here. You shouldn't wrap around. You shouldn't have Riven wrap around like this against this Samira comp, because actually Samira will target Riven immediately after killing the first shitter tank that you have if you watch this fight. So actually, what I would suggest you do is, because Riven's gonna wrap around, you should actually swap the. You can't put Riven in front of Samira, right? So you should swap the Viego and Riven positioning, and then potentially have this Mordekaiser in front of that Samira. All right, we open an anvil. We get an anvil off creeps, and then I mean here you're just picking Caitlyn items, right? Let's just do one QSS. I was like trying to see if I could use this Thieves Gloves because I have the Thieves Gloves augment, but I already have a BT on Yorick. I can't really do that. So Shojin Caitlyn it is. Against this guy, I think we didn't see the Akali, but thankfully the Akali goes onto the KO. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure your Caitlyn is not getting assassinated by Akali, because she actually does relevant damage with 4 8-bit. It's actually quite good, which is actually what makes the comp work, is not just Riven 3, but Riven 3 bridging into Caitlyn 2 into 4 8-bit slash 6 8-bit. As you can see here, Riven is extremely good against characters that do AoE damage because she can just heal it up with BT and block a ton of it with the shield. Oh, here I consider Kiana over Yorick. I do think there is an argument to be made. I honestly, after watching this game, the Yorick wasn't casting twice. If you didn't know, the value of Yorick is casting twice, so he gets the Omega Ghoul. Yeah, I think if I were to play this again, I would just play the Kiana with the BT and have her hit the enemy tank to farm some items. We can watch a few more of these fights, but this game is pretty much this game is already a top 4. We just end up not winning the game because you know, some inaccuracies like no QSS Riven and no 8-bit span, no 8-bit Riven. So the cap is definitely lower. Also didn't really manage my econ as well because I didn't really manage my econ as well because I rolled a little bit more on 8 for this Kaylin before she had items than I should have. But as you can see here, like this is like a this is one of the power of Titans, right? Like the Riven is basically almost dying, but not quite because she has that extra armor magic resist from Titans. Look, and then she just dashed through like a tentacle and one shot the Jhin here. It's so cool, actually. Riven is so cool. Definitely one of the coolest comps I've ever played. I think it's actually probably the most fun comp I've ever played. But we're gonna fast forward these. All we're doing is just getting items for Caitlyn, and then we get into the final 2. But unfortunately, I was not able to beat this guy. Unfortunately, I could not cap out. I tried to play 7 Edgelord, but I don't think 7 Edgelord is very good. So there's not really much we can do. We should probably play like more value units like Kiana, Yorick, Alawi, and the works, right? Probably would have been a lot better than playing 7 Edgelord. But anyways, that's the comp. I hope you guys found the guide helpful or at least fun to watch. And let me know how the games go, okay? If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the chat or in stream. Streaming TFT every day until January, where I will reevaluate our little TFT career to see if we want to go back to League of Legends or not. But honestly, the League of Legends outlook is not looking too good. Seems like there's still a lot of damage in the game. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I feel about League of Legends right now. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna make a video every day from now until January on TFT. Let me know if there's anything you want to see, because I am here to help you guys get better and gain free LP. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.